What is good, team? Do what we do. Back with another video, and for this video, at first I was just gonna title it Financial Literacy, but I honestly was given an idea by my girlfriend. She made it clear that, hey, look, maybe you should get a little bit deeper. And now also doing so, now the video I want to critique and talk about is the difference between assets and liabilities. And now in doing so, the reason why I believe this is so important in the realm of financial literacy and even motivation is because money does play a very big factor in our lives. And therefore, by just simply knowing the difference between assets and liabilities, you then put yourself in a place where you are more aware of where your money is going and can now then put yourself in the place that you want to be in regards to money. So look. So when it comes to assets, right, I wanted to use the color green just because you know money. So when it comes to assets, this can come in various forms such as money, royalties, real estate, intellectual property, the stock market, anything that is adding and contributing to your life as far as a positive gain. So technically, any job that you have is adding to your assets, but the thing about it is if you continue to trade time equals money, you then also put yourself in a place where, due to inflation, right, it's not really us, but due to also the government printing so much money, we put ourselves in a place where the money that we're working for is now worth less over a period of time, such as 5, 10, 20, 50 years later. So now, when it does come to assets, what we have to do is honestly, even if you're to put in $10 into the stock market, right? And there's such apps as Robinhood and Stash, and those apps do not sponsor me. Those are the apps that I use. This is something where you put in $10, right? Now that $10 goes up to $10.50. Not much of a return. That's about 5% return. Not that much. But now understand, if you're to leave that same amount of money inside your bank account, it may just flatline, it just be $10. Maybe sometimes you have a bank account that gives you $10 and like 1 cent. But now think about it, right? If you put in $10 into, say, Apple, right? And now your $10 goes to $10.50. Imagine putting in 100. And now your $100 could go to maybe $105, of course, right? But imagine putting in 1,000. Maybe your $1,000 goes to 1,100, 1,200, just because Apple specifically is more of a growth stock, right? Now you put in $10,000. See, now what's also happening is that when you do purchase a stock, you then become a shareholder. And when you become a shareholder, you just own a small little piece of the company. Now, of course, imagine if you invested back in Facebook in, let's say, 2008, 2007, 2006. Think about what your money would be looking like now. And maybe possibly as little as $1,000, $10,000. And I'm not saying those are small amounts. I'm just saying that amount of money could have exponentially grown by just putting in at the right time, at the right place, and in the right stock. And now when it comes to stocks, though, be mindful about the time that you have to take into learning about it, so you can put yourself in a place to then have the basis of financial literacy. Financial literacy is just the basis of understanding when it comes to saving, investing, and budgeting also. That's what financial literacy really is. It's not making it any harder than it needs to be. Assets are important for everybody, no matter what age we are, because it seems as if that we always go to college and then we're looking to get a career. But why are you looking to get the career? So that you can get paid a certain amount of money to then fund the lifestyle that you want to live. Mind you, you can still work wherever that you're working at, but if you put in $5, $10 over a period of time, due to compound interest, it grows. And then now your money can now work for you, and you not having to put in as much time and energy to then work for that money. This is why assets are so important. Now, let us go to the other half of these things, right? Because I wanted to give you a gist, give you a scenario, give you an idea of what assets are. Let's go to liability. Sometimes this word, it be going crazy sometimes. But look, so when it comes to liabilities, right? The definition of a liability, got a handy dandy dictionary now. Definition of a liability is debts or monetary obligations, something disadvantageous, the state or quality of being liable. Now, liabilities in a simple form are anything that takes money out of our pockets. Anything that is credit card debt, such as mortgages, such as rent, such as car payments, anything that is taking money from your pockets that you work for in any regard is a liability. Now, of course, we need to be paying insurance on our house or insurance on our cars just so that we can be protected, so that, if ish hits the fan, you don't lose more money. And so now the problem though with liabilities is, in regards to, the poor or middle class per se, is that what we do is, because we're not aware about assets in a sense, or we just don't have the knowledge to some extent, it then puts us in a place where we have so many liabilities and not realizing that although we're making some amount of money and can then turn our capital that we're working for into an asset, we just tend to spend it on a car payment or rent, which are necessities because you do need a car and you do need a place to live. But now also understand though, if your liabilities, right, are higher than your assets, right, let me just do this right here. What that does is that it turns your net worth, which is really your assets minus your liabilities, that is really what your net worth is, how much money you have to your name. If your liabilities are more than your assets, you're now in the negatives per se. And it's not that you can never get out of it, but this is what I feel like keeps us institutionalized, because we don't know the difference to an extent of just wanting or working towards creating more assets and not excusing, but of course minimizing the amount of liabilities we have in our life. And by doing so, you then not only work on your net worth, you can work on your portfolio, your investing portfolio. If you have real estate, if you have stocks, if you have bonds, you have index funds, you have you own an investment property. Anything that's putting money back into your pocket is an asset. Anything that is taking money out of your pocket is a liability. Now, of course, don't feel as if that you can't come through for people, or if you got it, you can't help close friends and family and members and all that. That's very important too. But be mindful that the more assets that you create, your assets can then be what funds your liabilities. I wanted to talk about these things because I feel as if it's not like we can't just do research and just look it up, but I feel as if that if we're not simplifying and making it available to all, that is where we're at a disadvantage, honestly. And it's not to say that we're not working on ourselves, and it's not to say that it's not a process, but understand that this right here, this concept right here that I've learned, it's not something I was born with. I learned it. It took me a little bit of time, right? But I learned it. But in also doing so, think about the advantage you can now be at on your day-to-day, not monthly, not weekly, just your day-to-day. See where your money is going. That's all. In doing that, I promise you, 2021 is looking very prosperous for you. That's what I firmly believe. But at the end of the day, it's something that you have to work towards. And I'm always here to help. Team, do what we do. I feel like the content is not where I want it to be, but it's getting better. I can promise you that it's getting better. We're not done yet. I appreciate you guys, every single one of you that take the time to like, share, and subscribe. It means the world to me, and I promise you, there's more to come. Team, do what we do. Out.